when you think about your career, when you think about the things you see quarterbacks doing now, and now you see it taking a turn from a social justice standpoint, being a quarterback is the most focal point, kind of the CEO, quote unquote, of the franchise, the face of the franchise. Right. Why do you think it took so long for a guy like Colin Kaepernick to see a situation like this and speak out? I know it would have been difficult for you because you were the only black quarterback in the league, but what do you think it took other guys so long in today's setting to join in on what's happening?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think financially they're much more better off. You know, Colin Kaepernick had played quite a few years in the league before he started to take this stance, so he had a lot of economic security by that time. He had just signed a huge contract, so was making a lot more money. So when you're worried about your job security and things like that, you're not going to take as many risks. But when you have that security, now all of a sudden you can take more risk. And then I think secondly is social media. A lot of times back then when you talked about something, it could be edited because it was only either seen or heard in a newspaper or on the television on an interview. And a lot of your words could be edited. But with social media, whatever you say goes straight to your listeners or straight out there to whoever's going to pick it up. And it's basically right from you. It's what you have to say. So your message is a lot more clear today than it was back in those days. So I think those two things had a lot to do with why you see players being a lot more socially active.
But do you think having social media has hurt the professional athlete's message, or do you think it has helped? Because obviously you get guys who say things in a negative way. I think it was one of the college, I think I can't remember this kid's name, but he's a backup who said he only believes that white people should be qualified to have guns. Like, that's obviously the wrong thing to say, even put out there on social media. So do you think it's helping or hurting?
There's no question it can be a benefit to you if you use it the right way and if you say the right things. It's like Herm Edwards said, you make sure before you press send, everything that you're going to send is said in the right way. And that still doesn't mean everybody's going to agree with what you have to say. There's a lot of people out there just looking to take the opposite side of whatever your opinion is. So that part of it, you're never going to win. You're not going to win over everybody. But if you say things clearly in a way that people understand where you're coming from, then it's a great vehicle for you to get your message out there. But it can be interpreted the wrong way if not done the right way.
So Warren, you spoke about your interaction with the Minnesota Police Department. Was there ever any time where you felt like you needed to speak up locally for other people, other minorities in that community, or did you just kind of take it from a standpoint that the team had already approached you about the Minnesota Police Department? You just kind of left that thing alone.
Yeah, I just kind of left that alone, and there wasn't a lot of instances that I was really aware of when I was there. One of the things I didn't try to do was watch the news and watch anything to do with media. As a quarterback, I just kind of took on that persona when it came to dealing with the media. I felt like the only way I could deal with the media was not to listen to what they have to say. So I just never really watched very much local news so I could have relationships with the people that I had to have there. But that was the main reason. I wasn't as up on everything that was going on with everybody in the public.
Warren, with everything that's happening around the country and really around the world, as far as the NFL is concerned, the conversation keeps coming back to Colin Kaepernick. Obviously, Drew Brees escalated it last week with his comments. But just in general, do you think this is finally the push to get Kaepernick to get signed by an NFL team?
I mean, I know there's a lot of concern out there that he deserves an opportunity. And my biggest question is, does he still want to play football? This is quite a crusade that he's on right now with what he's been supporting over the last 4 years, and how much of this takes away from what his preparation for football would be if he wanted to be a quarterback in the NFL. Because when you're a quarterback in the NFL, especially if you've been away from the game for 4 years, you better be all in as far as your commitment to the game and your love to the game. And I don't know if he still has that love. I know everybody else wants him to get a job, but we haven't heard from him whether he really wants to play or not. And then you have to look at, he's been away from it for 3 or 4 years. Can you leave a professional sport for that long and come back and still be effective? So those are the things I would like to know first before I even think that he deserves a job. If he wants all those things to happen, yes, he should deserve an opportunity to get a chance to play for somebody. But I think we need to get those questions answered. I think he needs to be able to sit down in front of an organization and talk to them and let them know where he's coming from and then what their expectations of him are. So I think there's a lot of questions before that happens.
But Warren, you've said that you think that the Seahawks should sign him. Okay, I said, by the way, this week, I think the Vikings should sign him. He'd be a really good backup with the Vikings. I mean, just looking at their depth chart. In a city that should want and would want to accept him, a place where the league would be, this is the perfect PR story for us. I think that if the league and the commissioner is apologizing for being insensitive or they weren't as compassionate as they should have been, if they're going to apologize all these years later, the man deserves an opportunity if you say, like you say, he wants to play.
That's the bigger question to me. Does he still want to play? Does he still have that burning desire in his heart and the commitment to go out there and do what it takes to become an NFL quarterback? And then can he go through a workout and do all the things that a team wants to see in a workout for a quarterback? So those things have to be answered. But there's something even deeper than that. You got to remember, Scott, this is a guy that sued the National Football League. He sued those 32 owners. Those 32 owners, they haven't forgotten about that. I think they paid him a pretty big settlement as well. So he made money out of the deal. And who knows what's in that settlement? Part of that settlement could be you never play in the National Football League again. We don't know. We don't know what's in there. So there's a lot going on right there. But those owners, it'd be like somebody suing you and then you coming back and saying, okay, and I'm going to hire you now after I've given you a bunch of money and in the lawsuit. So that's something that's a very delicate subject, even though they are apologizing for what happened back in the day.
But what's the difference between him and Eric Reed?
Well, Eric Reed doesn't have a job right now. And he played. And he didn't start this thing. He didn't start the crusade. He just supported it. A lot of guys supported it.
I mean, listen, I agree with you. I mean, look,
but Eric was his closest friend and closest confidant in all of this. So that's one of the reasons why he had a tough time when he first signed with Carolina, because he should have been signed by somebody very quickly for his skill set, but it took a while. And now he's out of the league and still doesn't have a job. So that shows you that there's something there too.
I would argue if I were in front of the NFL owners, I'd be like, hey, gentlemen, let me explain something to all of you guys. Whatever dollar figure we paid Colin Kaepernick, it will pale in comparison to the money we could make if we could get him back into the league and create a whole bunch of goodwill. I mean, are these guys not thinking like business guys all of a sudden?
I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. And like I said, I can't tell you what's in that agreement. So there's still a lot of questions to be answered here. I know everybody wants the right thing. They think that he deserves a chance, and I do too if he wants to play. But we don't know everything that's involved here.